So, welcome in, as we read Sonic High School by Dankmatter. Sonic's Journal, Sonic High School, Chapter 1. Sonic woke up and looked at the clock. 7 o'clock, it said, and Sonic screamed, "I'm late for school! I have to get to school now," said Sonic, jumping out of bed. Sonic put his clothes on really fast and ran out of his room, because he is fast. "No time for breakfast," said Sonic as he ran past Sonic's mom. "You will regret this," said Sonic's mom, leering at him from the kitchen stove, wearing aprons and oven mitts on her hands. Sonic did not care. He was late. Sonic ran outside and ran to the bus stop, where people were getting on the bus. "Tails, Knuckles, wait for me," said Sonic as he ran towards the bus. "Hey, Knuckles, it's Sonic," said Tails to Knuckles at the bus stop. "He is late," said Knuckles to Tails before getting on the bus. Sonic ran so fast to the bus, and he got on the bus after Tails. "Just in time," said Sonic, huffing and puffing like he was doing the Cupid Shuffle for the first time. Sonic sat down next to Tails, and Knuckles sat behind them, taking up both seats. "I'm so bad," said Knuckles, laughing because he sat where two people could sit. Knuckles did this every day, and no one bothered him, but they all knew it was against the rules of both man and God. The bus started and drove at the school and parked, and they got out. "We're at school now," said Tails. "It is time to go to class." Sonic was also at school, so he went to his very first class of the day, English class. Sonic did not like English very much, but he did not like any class very much that was not about running and going fast, which is what Sonic does best. Sonic got to his class and sat down in his seat. "It is journal day," said Sonic's English teacher, Mrs. Lesson. Mrs. Lesson was tall and white and had gray hair, and she was not pretty. "Take out your journals and put them in a pile, and I will read one of your entries to the class." Sonic took out his blue journal and ran to the front quickly and put his journal on her desk and ran back to his desk, all with his head down and not talking or looking at anyone. Sonic was so fast that he did it first. Everyone else did it afterwards and slower. Mrs. Lesson grabbed a journal from the pile, and Sonic knew it was his because it looked just like Sonic's journal. Sonic knew this because he had written in it so many times it was crazy. Mrs. Lesson opened to a totally random page, and it was the worst page she could possibly pick. She began to read, "Dear Journal, I called the doctor today about a problem. I have a problem with my balls. They are itchy and it is difficult to sit still with them because they are so itchy. I have to back up against stucco surfaces and rub up and down on them to relieve the itchiness. No creams have worked. Creams only make my ball sweat smell like the breath of a thoroughbred, and I think Amy, my girlfriend, noticed. I hope my doctor calls. Love, Sonic." "Oh no! Stop reading," said Sonic. But he reacted too late because it was already read, all of it. Everyone in class laughed, and Sonic felt like an idiot asshole because now everyone knew all about his ball problems. Sonic felt his rage build up inside him like a pool of lava in a volcano. "Stop laughing at me! Don't tell anyone!" shouted Sonic, but everyone was laughing so loud that they did not hear him, and Sonic was just embarrassed and mad, and sad but more embarrassed, so he ran out of the class fast. Sonic ran to his locker and opened it and screamed into it. He screamed, "This sucks!" and curse words too. "What is his problem?" said Tails. "Are you mad?" said Tails. Sonic was mad, so he nodded. "You should tell everyone that it is okay to have problems with your balls. That they probably have problems that they do not want everyone to know about too, so stop laughing at me." Sonic thought Tails was right because Tails was smart. Knuckles was there too, so he said, Sonic, what's this I heard about you're having problems with your penis and balls? Sonic was so mad again, so he punched Knuckles and ran away quick. If it helps, just pretend it's actually Idris Elba. The Idris Elba that's doing the voice for Sonic. Just insert, remove my voice and put his in there. You know, there you go. It'll enhance the experience. I'm sure. Ahem. Where Sonic ran to was his next class. It is now second period, so it was okay. And that class was history class. Sonic did not care about history class. Hey Amy, said Sonic, check me out. And Sonic did a dance move. Wow, cool. Let's kiss, said Amy. And Sonic and Amy kissed right there in the class. And some of the other people in the class watched. But the teacher wasn't there yet, so they didn't get in trouble. And who is going to tell Sonic he can't kiss his girlfriend in class? Amy kissed Sonic so hard that he was thinking, let's have sex. But he didn't say it because the teacher would show up the time they started to have sex in history class. Sonic kissed back really hard and it was sexy to everyone. The teacher arrived and they did class, but Sonic just looked at Amy the whole time, who was sitting next to Rouge. Amy and Rouge talked and they looked at Sonic sometimes and laughed. Sonic thought Amy was telling her about how awesome Sonic kissed her, but it was not. Rouge was telling Amy about Sonic's gay ball problems, and Amy was Sonic's girlfriend, but she thought it was the funniest thing ever. Class ended, and Sonic went to Amy quick and did not stop on the way. Hey Amy, why do you go telling Rouge about how hard we kiss? Said Sonic with a smile on his face. That meant he did not care that Amy did this, and really wanted her to because it made him look cooler. Actually, Rouge was telling me about the problems with your balls and penis and butthole that everyone found out about in your English class. Wow, was Sonic surprised. He did not know what to say. End of that section. Next section, the prom. The rest of the day for Sonic was awful. So bad it was that Sonic went home and went right to the bathroom and took a big poop. It was a mad poop because it went out fast. It shooted out of his butthole so fast it was like a gun shooting. His poop stunk so much that even the neighbors could smell it. And they all had a meeting at night about what to do about it, and they decided that they would just put fans on outside, and if it really started to smell again, they would do something else. So Sonic pooped and went up to his room and shouted into his pillow, I hate everything! Sonic shouted loud, and he heard a knock at his door. What is wrong, Sonic? Asked Sonic's mom. Nothing, said Sonic. Okay. Just keep it down because I was trying to watch the TV, said Sonic's mom to Sonic, and left without saying anything else. Sonic was in his room still, so he looked out to the window and saw Tails flying there with his flying tails. Sonic, are you okay? Asked Tails. I was worried about you, Sonic. Sonic was less mad because Tails was always nice and smart and didn't care that Sonic left his porns around his room, so he could think about kissing and doing sex on Amy when he wasn't with Amy. Please be happy, said Tails. Are you there? Sonic went to the window and opened the window. Sonic grabbed Tails and put him on the bed because Sonic is strong too. This day was the worst, said Sonic. Everyone thinks I'm a loser because I gave them my journal. Sonic cried a little, and Tails put his hand under his face to catch his tears. Tears can stain a carpet. Tails hugged Sonic and said, I'm always here for you. The prom is tonight also. Wow, I forgot, said Sonic. Sonic ran to his closet fast and pulled pulled out his prom uniform, it's a tuxedo, and put it on faster. Is our limo here yet, Tails? Said Sonic while looking at Tails. Yes, said Tails right back. Let's go. And Sonic went outside with Tails, who was also in prom clothing. Then they went outside and got in the limo. The limo is broken, said the limo driver. Sonic and Tails got out of the limo and asked the limo driver if they could fix it. Nope, the limo is broken eternally, said the limo driver. So Sonic grabbed Tails' hand and said, let's go, and ran all the way to the prom, which was on an island called Ghost Island. This place is scary, said Tails. Ghost Island was really scary. It was shaped like a skull, and everything looked like it was dead. Sonic looked at Tails. Yeah, it is, said Sonic. Why would they put the prom on this island, said Tails. I don't see anyone else from the school here. Tails and Sonic were both worried about it all. Sonic and Tails walked forward, and there was a haunted house. Sonic and Tails went into the haunted house, and it was spooky. Sonic saw a ghost and Tails saw a mummy. There was a man laughing. Sonic and Tails, now you are both here and fallen right into my trap, said the man laughing. The man looked fat. It was Eggman. Eggman, why you're here? Asked Sonic and shouted at Eggman. Are you here for the Chaos Emeralds? Sonic shook his fist at Eggman and Tails ran at him. But what an idiot he was, because a cage fell down from the top of the sky and trapped Tails. You are doomed now, said Eggman. Welcome to a graveyard of you. Sonic was shocked, but did not run forward because he did not want to get caught too. But what if Eggman did not have another cage? Sonic did not know. So he went to the side into a different room. This room was smaller and had carpets and wallpaper. It was still scary though. Sonic said, I need to find a way out and save Tails. And he walked into a door that was on the next wall. Next thing, said Sonic, and he came out of the room into the same room he was in. This is a haunted house. So you always come back to the same place, said Sonic.
Make it stop! Oh, make it stop!
We're almost there, said Sonic, thinking of the famous line he saw once on the wall of a Walgreens where it was written. Eggman laughed and pointed at Sonic. I kissed...
Make it stop! Oh, make it stop!
Eggman laughed and pointed at Sonic. I kissed Amy now. I kissed Amy, and now you can never date her again because I am going to do sex at her tonight. No, this cannot be real, said Sonic. Sonic knew that he had to do something, but what? That's the end of Chapter 2. Now, Chapter 3. The two most important people. Sonic ran the fastest right to Dr. Eggman, right through his traps, and jumped at the floating platform that Egg was standing on. I'm coming for you, said Sonic, and he jumped up right to the platform and got so close, but fell because it was just too high to reach, even for Sonic. Sonic said, damn, and ran up the staircase that was in the middle of the big room that were under Eggman. Sonic ran to the top. At the top, he jumped again from a higher spot, and this time reached the platform because it was easier to get to it. Now you're mine, shouted Sonic right to Eggman in his ear. You're doing a line reading well. I'll read something after we finish this. I mean, we could go back to My Immortal. Do you want that? Ahem. I'm not going to fall this easily, said Eggman, who then grabbed a crystal remote control out of his pocket and pressed a button on it that made a dome of lasers around Eggman. Get out of here, yelled Eggman. I am Eggman, and I will have my way with the treasures of this island, said Eggman. Eggman flew up higher on his platform, and Sonic had already fell from the lasers that were on the floating platform, so Sonic didn't get to go too. Eggman disappeared into a purple and black portal at the top of the ceiling, and Sonic was left at the bottom of the room on the middle of the stairs. Amy still has to be here somewhere, and I need to get Tails out of that locked cage, said Sonic, thinking about what he should do next. Sonic ran up the stairs really fast and down the hallway at the top of the stairs on the second floor. Sonic picked a door and ran into the door. The room Sonic ran into had a big picture of an old man on it, and he looked just so old that it was like seeing a skeleton right there. Sonic said, "This man probably died ages ago and left all his money from being in real estate to his sons who built this place." Sonic, this was the right room to be in, so he left it and went into the next room. Oh, by the way, chat, just for reference, that real estate, I tried to pronounce it like this, but that's how it's spelled. Anyway, this was the right room to be in, and Sonic knew immediately. There was a big red bed, and Sammy was tied with rope around her feet and hands, and there was another rope around her head with a lock in her mouth, so she couldn't open it or say anything at all. Sonic ran right to the bed without doing anything. Before doing that, and untied Amy with his sonic speed. "I'm so glad you're here," said Amy. "This prom is not turning out like I hoped it would be when I bought this dress." Amy was wearing a pretty red dress that was like what she normally wears, but longer, and there were 2 flowers on her 2 shoulders. Amy's dress also made her boobs look bigger, Sonic noticed. Sonic thought for just a moment that this was the perfect moment to get her to give sex to him, but he did not do it because Tails still needed help. "Where's the key to open Tails' cage?" said Sonic to Amy. "We need to open Tails' cage. He can't get out the cage." "'Cause all he is just a fox in a cage, despite all of his rage." Okay, they say that. Anyway, "I saw Eggman putting a key in a safe behind the picture in the room you were just in," said Amy. So let's go get it." Amy and Sonic ran to the next room, and Sonic got there first. He's the faster one in the relationship. Sonic punched his big strong hand right through the painting like a bodybuilder, found the safe behind the painting. "This safe needs a password," said Sonic. "What could it be?" Sonic thought long and hard about everything he knew about Eggman. Sonic knew Eggman was a gay asshole who always ruined Sonic's plans to be the hero, and now he ruined Sonic's prom. Sonic tapped on his brain and thought harder. "Maybe the password is his name," said Amy. It was not, and Sonic knew it before Sonic put it in the safe lock. "I love her for her body," thought Sonic. Sonic thought harder and had an idea. What if the password is Sahak Sludrim? Finally shouted Sonic at Amy next to him. Amy, who was there, said, "What does that mean?" Amy, Sonic's girlfriend, was confused. "It is Chaos Emeralds backwards. What he really wants, but messed up, so we would not guess it, screamed Sonic, so happy. Sonic typed the password into the safe, and would you know it? It popped open, and there was this big key. So Sonic took it out. Sonic ran down the stairs, and then Amy did, and Sonic opened Tails' cage, and Tails got out. "I'm so glad to be safe once again. Thanks to you, Sonic, the day is saved." Tails was smiling bigger than a crocodile having a silly dream, but Sonic was not. "What is wrong, Sonic? Everything is right now," said Sonic. "No, it isn't," said Sonic, so mad and sad. "Eggman got away without a real punishment for what he did." Sonic shook his face at the sky, thinking about how Eggman slipped away like a slippery balloon that Sonic let go of. "But we are all safe," Amy said. "That is what really matters." Sonic figured right then that Amy's superpower must be being nice because, like, he knew before it wasn't being smart, which Tails was best and Sonic is also good at too. Sonic did not even think about how his day at school was bad anymore because his balls did not really even itch anymore. So Sonic laughed, Tails laughed, Amy laughed, and they went home ready for the next day of high school. Wait, this has way more chapters than I thought it did. I am die. I am die. Thank you forever. Oh gosh. We might be here for a while, folks. Thankfully, I have tea. Preparations. Sonic High School, Chapter 5. It was the end of the day at school, and it was time that Sonic and Tails and Knuckles got back on the bus at the bus stops to board it all the way home from school. "We're on the bus now," said Tails. "No more classes." Tails was happy, but sad because he is smart. Sonic and Tails sat down together, and Knuckles sat right in the middle of the aisle, which he usually did not do, but sometimes did when not everyone was on the bus. It looked like Espio and Rouge were not on the bus because they were too busy getting ready to go sex tonight now that they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Knuckles laid across the aisle even more stretched out when he just sat across two seats because now the limits were the Alpha and the Omega. I don't even know what that means. About 100% sure what they try to get at that. That his legs spread across were like endless? What? I don't. Anyway. Just don't think about it. "How can we help Espio?" said Sonic to Tails. Tails responded, "I don't know," and thought about it on the bus. The bus drove bumpy on the bumpful roads all the way home, and then they all got out at the bus stop that they normally got in the bus at, just like always. Sonic ran out of the bus, and then Tails, and then Knuckles in order. "Time to go home," said Tails. "We are almost there," and they walked the rest of the way to home. When they got home, it was dinner time, and Sonic was at a different home from Tails. Oh gosh. Almost there, and they walked the rest of the way to home. When they got home, it was dinner time, and Sonic was at a different home from Tails and Knuckles because they were all in different families, so they did not live together. And Sonic's mom made a dinner. Sonic's mom made it Chinese food, and Sonic ate it. And at the end, there was a fortune cookie, and Sonic broke it open and ate the cookie part and kept the paper that was inside that held a magical fortune on it. Sonic looked at the fortune and read it to himself inside of his head. "The path to glory begins at the base of your friend's penis." said Sonic inside of his head, reading the fortune cookie paper, and he knew it was a good for what was about to happen tonight when Espio and Rouge went to sex. Then the phone rang. Sonic ran to the phone and picked it up and said, "Hello," into it. It was Tails. "I have an idea," said Tails in the phone to Sonic, who was listening but not speaking. "I can give Espio my invisibility hat, that for the science competition, and he could use it to sex for Rouge." Sonic smiled so wide, like the King of Fire finding out he burned down New York City with only his fire powers. Sonic and Tails went to Espio's house later, which was not too easy to walk to normally for most people, but Sonic is super fast, so he ran there and helped Tails get there too. Seeing as Tails is not as fast as Sonic, they knocked in the house and Espio came out of the door. "Here is my invisibility hat that you can use with Rouge tonight to make sex in. It makes it impossible to see and impossible to hear you when you are wearing the hat, or when someone who is wearing the hat wants you to be also impossible to see and impossible to hear," screamed Tails, whose voice was a little hoarse from ordering food with the lunch lady whose hearing was lost in an earthquake in her childhood. Tails had to say the things he wanted so loud, and she would still say, "What?" And Tails wondered why she even had ears if she wasn't going to use them. Espio grabbed the invisibility hat from Tails' hands and said, "Cool, thanks," and kept going, so and Tails left and wished him luck from far away at their own homes. Back at home, Sonic thought it would be good that Espio would sex with Rouge so he could explain it to Sonic, and Sonic would know how to find these sex spots even better, because otherwise he would have to read about it online, because all he knew was kissing, which wasn't really, but it was probably kind of the same thing, and Sonic knew, and Sonic would just read about it online before talking about it anyway, and he would know the right words for the things then. Sonic sat on his chair that was in front of his Sonic computer and opened up his Sonic Instant Messenger and messaged Amy, who was doing the same thing but at her home. Said, "Hey Amy, finally become true boyfriend-girlfriend by reaching sex this weekend?" Sonic waited for a long time at his computer, and it seemed like Amy was not there, because she did not respond to anything. Sonic played games online and beat all the final bosses because he was like an alien sent to Earth to destroy records set by others. Then finally, Amy responded. What Amy said was, "No way!" Sonic was so shocked, his brain must have felt like a total idiot. Okay, so the next chapter, chapter 6, it ends with a warning forget by the editor missing, which is warning contains the worst sex scene ever written, and it's called Espio and Rouge. Yeah, I'm skipping that chapter. Just y'all can read that. And we will come right back after an ad break. We do have words on stream, so it'll be right back, and we will continue this. Oh my gosh. Okay, we back. Uh. Yeah, we're skipping chapter 6, which is just yeah. Y'all can read that on your own time. Oh gosh. Anyway. Chapter 7, Teenage Women. We had front sex, whispered Espio at the people at his lunch table. Espio was at school in the lunchroom and also was Tails and Knuckles and Charmy B and Victor. Wow, cool. You are the coolest after Sonic, said Tails, who was right there. We didn't have to shout. It was good not to shout because it was supposed to be a secret. He also not hear the school talking about balls like Sonic in chapter 1, but in a different way. Yeah, speaking of Sonic, where is that gay bag, said Vector, who was the captain of the school's football team. Vector was good at this because he was big and strong and had sharp teeth under his mouth. Just kidding, said Vector. Sonic is cool. I don't know, said Tails to to Vector. Oh gosh, I'm so used to reading said Sonic to Tails and Tails to Sonic that I'm... Oh. Where Sonic was somewhere else, trying to find Amy, who was not at lunch. Sonic was knocking on Amy's door at her house. Are you home? Said Sonic. Are you home? It was like Amy was not at home, because she was not opening the door. Sonic was worried about Amy, because she was his only girlfriend, even if he denied his sex offer, so he ran into the door and barged it like it was made of nothing. Sonic was now in Amy's house. Amy's house was really pink, because that was Amy's color. Sonic looked around Amy's house for Amy, but Sonic could not find anyone. Sonic finally went to Amy's bedroom and opened the door up. What Sonic saw next was what he did not expect. Amy was there, tied up on her bed with a thing in her mouth so she couldn't talk. Sonic did a scream and ran over to Amy, who was looking at her with tears in her eyes. She looked sad and starved. Sonic untied Amy and sat up and cried into Sonic's arms. It was awful, said Amy. My room in the evening and tried to tuck me up on this bed and messed up the things in my room. Amy was right. Her room looked messy. So get a maid, said Sonic, always thinking about a solution to problems. Who tied you up? Who was it? Be calm, Amy. Calm down and talk to me. Sonic patted Amy on the back to help her. It was Shadow. I saw him outside his house next door with a machine gun and a sword going in his house to kill his mom, and he saw me. He knew I saw him, so he tied me up like a brigand. Amy said all of this. Sonic was shocked that Amy said this to him. He remembered now in that other part when Shadow said he was going to kill his mom, but no one thought about it than once because Shadow was always a bad guy. What they didn't realize was that Shadow was serious. Okay, was it him who also said that he would not have sex with me on Sonic Messenger? Said Sonic to Amy. Yes, I did not talk to you then, spoke Amy back to Sonic. So how do you really feel about it? Asked Sonic, whose brain was now humming with sex ideas. Shit, I don't know, said Amy, still worked up. Give me a day. Right now, let's get things right. So Sonic and Amy went back to school where everyone else was besides them. Sonic and Amy saw Espio walking around between a lot of other people. Hey, here you are, said Espio to Sonic and Amy. Sex with Rouge last night. Do not tell everyone, said Espio. Oh, that's right, you did. I almost forgot, said Sonic. Hear that, Amy? And Amy was like, yup. Gotta tell me about later so I know what to do to Amy, said Sonic, and then turned around. Sonic heard a sound coming from the hallway where someone was coming. It was a really fat guy that looked so huge to him. The fat guy got closer and closer until they could see who it was, and it was Rouge. Wow, you are so fat now, said Espio. What's that about? Rouge looked mad and surprised at Espio. Well, you got me pregnant, said Rouge. Oh my gosh, thought Sonic to himself without saying it with voice. She is pregnancy fat. This means she will have a baby. Amy was smiling for real to Rouge. That's so nice. You have a great baby, said Amy. Sonic tried to be a good boyfriend and said, hope your baby is cool, and smiled. Espio looked more worried than everybody else. So, am I going to be your baby's daddy? Said Espio, worried and excited both. Better believe it, said a voice that sounded just like Shadow's. I am worried how this is gonna go without Shadow. Things change, Chapter 8. Shadow! Sonic shouted. Was Shadow there? Surprised to see me, said Shadow. We know what you did to your mother, screamed Amy like a Christ man. It was... Shadow cut her off and did not let her finish the sentence. You did not see anything. I'm Shadow, and I know how to commit crimes. You think I have not killed a person before? I have. Shadow crossed his arms and sneered at Amy, looking at her. But I saw you. And Amy said, you saw nothing. I stopped you, Shadow said. It doesn't matter. You are on your way inside your house to kill your mom, said Amy. Amy shook around because she was all nervous, and her smaller than Rouge's, but still good boobs wiggled a little. And Sonic thought it was cool to see, and he wanted to support her. I did not kill my mom. I was going to my house to protect her from Dr. Eggman, Shadow said. Okay, said Sonic, and Sonic and Espio went to class because it started, and they were still in the high school hallway. He was trying to ship my Ultra Chaos Emerald shards to space so we could collect them in his egg space station, said Shadow to Amy in an explaining way. We gotta do something about him. I understand that you had a reason to tie me up, but do not kill your mother, responded Amy. I was only kidding, because the other guys were all being too important about themselves, and I do not think it is a good quality for high school students to be. High school students should be nice and caring and not talk about themselves like they are the best, because that will only make us all assholes. Which isn't what we should be trying to be. Shadow said that to Amy. She understood that he was a good guy and had a reason for tying her up on a bed, even if he had bad times when he was dark and did crimes at the cityscape. They both went to class in different directions, so the conversation ended. Later, after school, Sonic went on Sonic Messenger and talked to Espio. Hey Espio, how are you? Do you know what you're gonna do about being for Rouge's baby? He said into the computer. I made the mistake of reading ahead. Oh gosh. Kill me now. Listen, Sonic, this is hard for me to say, said Espio into the computer, which went across the internet to Sonic. I want to get Rouge to get abortion. Sonic was upset because Rouge's baby would not survive it. In fact, Rouge's baby would die. There has to be another way, Espio, said Sonic in Sonic Messenger. If you really want to do, that's okay, dude, because it is your decision. Good, because I want you to help me. I'm going to get Rouge tomorrow at school and slip her the abortion pill in one of her meals. You will help me by distracting her from me, said Espio then. Okay, see you then, said Sonic. The next day happened and Sonic was at lunch. I won the science competition, but you didn't come, Sonic, said Tails in a sad, mad way. I wanted you to come because I'm such a good friend to you, but you did not. But I won anyway without you. Tails was mad at Sonic, which did not usually happen because they were the best friends. Wow, sorry Tails, I was busy and I did not know, said Sonic, trying to make Tails happy again. Kiss my ass, Dick, screamed Tails to Sonic and flew out of the room with his flying tails. This is awful. This is awful. This is awful, said Sonic. He is my best friend. Sonic knew this was a big problem, but changed his mind to think about Rouge and Espio. Sorry. Kiss my ass, comma, and then Dick, screamed Tails to Sonic. There we go. Even though a hyphen would, in this story, honestly, not feel that strange and her thing. I wouldn't put this story, so you know it's fine. It's fine. Sonic knew this was a big problem, but changed his mind to think about Rouge and Espio, and then went over to where Rouge was, going to get the abortion pill from Espio. Vector was there too, which was weird because he usually was not. Okay, Espio, are you ready? Said Sonic only to Espio. Espio shook his head. Yes. Hey, Rouge. How are you doing today? How's class? Do you have lots of homework? What are you eating for lunch? Sonic said to Rouge to distract her from Espio. Looks like Sonic did it perfectly, but while he was asking these things, Espio put the abortion pill in Rouge's salad. Rouge ate salads because she is thin. Rouge answered the questions, but no one was paying attention because they were now glad it was done. Oh, what is this? Said Rouge suddenly, looking like a shocked woman. What's wrong? Asked Espio. He was worried that Rouge found the abortion pill in her salad and looked at it. I think I'm having my baby. Here it comes. Rouge said this before she could even eat the abortion pill, so everyone knew the baby was coming for real. This baby is having a 48-hour gestation period. Are we sure it's not a xenomorph? Rouge lay down on the ground, and they put a curtain around her so no one could really see what was going on, because it was going to be gross. They could see a baby start to come out of her butt, and it was crying a lot. Everyone wanted the baby to shut up already because they were just trying to have lunch, but now there's a baby coming out of the lunchroom at school. Mrs. Lesson, who was also the school nurse, said, "Get out of my way, kids. I have to help this baby get out of Rouge. Babies are too weak to do this by themselves." Mrs. Lesson went behind the curtain and helped pull the baby out of Rouge's butt, and it was still crying. Could you believe it? Rouge was exhausted from her baby, but Mrs. Lesson was not. Mrs. Lesson held the baby in her hands while it was still crying and held it out to everyone. Look at it, said Mrs. Lesson. Rouge's baby was red and had long hair and big white fists. Bum, bum, bum. A bunch of babies. Chapter 9. Rouge's baby continued to do crying louder than a monster truck. Sonic looked at the baby really close. Hey, Espio, said Sonic. Aren't babies supposed to look like you? Rouge's baby doesn't look like you, but it looks like someone else I know. Sonic rubbed his chin and thought about who it was that it looked like. Yeah, Espio, Rouge's baby looks like Knuckles, said Victor. Cool, I'm gonna go tell him. Vector ran like a crocodile and went to find Knuckles to tell him what he said. Rouge was sitting on the ground looking all tired and sore. Miss Lesson was rubbing her butt because it was still hurting from the baby that came out when she gave birth to her baby. This dang baby was still crying. Spiel looked worried about it. Guys are right. Why does not that baby look like me? Spiel went to Lisfin, who was holding the baby still, and looked at it closer and still could not see himself in the baby. This does not make sense, said Espio to the baby. Just then, Vector came in the door. Then there was Knuckles too, huffing and puffing and looking surprised. Knuckles went right to Rouge and looked at the baby. Whoa! He said, making that sound when he saw the baby, Rouge's baby that looked like him. The baby was still crying. What is wrong with you? Yelled Knuckles at Rouge. Why did you go and have a baby? Now I'm gonna be your dad. Now I gotta be your dad. He kept yelling at her with the maddest feelings, and Knuckles thought about his horoscope that he read this morning and said, your biggest fear will come true, so you better watch out. Now he knew what that meant. It was about Rouge's baby, because Knuckles did not want this responsibility. It is harder than having a dog. Is it? Is it? Yeah, I imagine. Rouge was tired and Rouge's baby was crying. But Rouge was crying and scared of Knuckles' volcano rage and said, I'm sorry. It was supposed to be Espio's baby. I'm sorry it wasn't, because he would not treat me like this. What Rouge said sent Knuckles into the next level of his anger. He turned even redder and looked at Espio. You tried to have a baby with her? Rouge is mine. You're not allowed. Knuckles charged at Espio, but Vector held him back. Sonic thought, Vector, why would you bring him here if it was just going to cause trouble? Espio said, what? I do not know. You're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Espio seemed scared, but still calm. We are, but it was a secret. Now you have to pay. Knuckles kept to get at Espio, but Vector was still holding him back, and thank goodness Vector was here, because he was the captain of the football team and could restrain him like a crocodile seatbelt that could also talk to you. Knuckles could not get him, so he said, tomorrow we'll fight. Meet me in the hallway at the end of school and prepare for me to beat on your ass, shit man. Knuckles stormed to the lunchroom and Knuckles stormed out the lunchroom and went away. Rouge's baby stopped crying and said, no, come back, you don't have to fight, Espio. But it was too late because Knuckles was gone by then. Rouge patted her baby on the head and said, you should go to sleep now and get your rest, baby. You're probably tired. So Rouge's baby went to sleep and was finally quiet. Espio tried his best to look like a big tough guy and not panic, but he was secretly scared and went back to doing what he was doing before this baby thing happened. So did Sonic too. The rest of the school and getting home from school happened. Sonic did not see Tails or Knuckles for any part of it. Tails was still mad at Sonic. Sonic took out his Sonic phone on his way home and called his girlfriend Amy. Hey Amy, so you decided if you wanted sex, said Sonic. You know, said Amy. I'm just too stressed out and nervous, but everything going at high school. Things are so crazy. Damn, said Sonic, and hung up the phone and finished getting home. Sonic thought he would never be true boyfriend and girlfriend with Amy at this rate. It was almost like she had a second boyfriend that Sonic did not know about, and that was why Amy did not want sex from Sonic. Sonic had dinner and then thought about his friends. Espio and Knuckles were both his friends, but they were intending to fight. What could Sonic do? Sonic figured they are still both his friends, but he would go visit Espio because he was not the one who said to fight, and because Knuckles had spikes on his hands that would make it hard to beat him in a fight. Sonic went to Espio's house. Ding dong, said Espio's doorbell, and Sonic waited at the door. Espio showed up at the door and opened it. Hey Sonic, thanks for coming, said Espio to Sonic. You gotta help me prepare for this fight. You can start by learning out to get rid of puncture wounds. I was trying not to look nervous to Knuckles, but actually I was. Also, did you hear about Charmy Bee? No, I did not hear, said Sonic to Espio. Knuckles kidnapped him, and is threatening to hurt him if I don't show up to fight him tomorrow. So I have to, especially now, because the gods will crush my soul, even if Charmy Bee is an annoying idiot loser, said Espio, then back to Sonic. Oh no, that's really bad, said Sonic. Sonic knew this now had to happen too, because his morals were probably the best ever. He did not know Sonic would stoop to such a mean thing. Sonic and Espio then walked into Espio's house and up the stairs to Espio's bedroom. Our other friend is here too, said Espio just as he was opening the door to his bedroom. Espio finished opening the door, and there was Tails, who was standing in Espio's room. The moment Tails saw Sonic, his face turned into a salad of anger, the devil, and lava. I need to remember that. I'm pinning that. Ahem. Two different fights. Sonic High School, Chapter 10. Why are you here? Screamed Tails with the anger of a million angry birds. Sonic was shocked because Tails was his best friend. Tails was smart, but Tails was super pissed at Sonic for not coming to the science competition, even though they were best friends. Sonic moved his mouth, but words did not come out because he did not know what to say. Sonic was a mixture of mad and sad and frustrating because he did not know what he could do to get Tails to be his friend again. At times like this, Sonic thought about Amy's fine body because it set his mind at ease. I'm just here for my friend, said Sonic. Our friend Espio. We're still friends too, Tails. You were just too mad to see this. I know what I see, said Tails, kind of screaming. I am so smart. Espio tried to get in between them even though it was his house, and they were in right now, and said, Guys, please. Let's just make sure I can fight Knuckles and not get owned. Sonic and Knuckles ignored him for the moment and continued to be in a fuss. I'm sorry, bro. I don't understand. What can you do to make our friendship the best one ever once again, said Sonic to Tails. Tails wiggled his two tails and looked to the side in a thinking way. I don't know, said Tails to Sonic. But you know what? Here, take this. Tails took out a blue book from a spot and threw it on the ground in front of Sonic. It was what it was when Sonic looked at it. It was Sonic's journal. What? How did you get this? Said Sonic to Tails. I gave this to Mrs. Lesson before she read about my balls problems. I lied. I did not go to the science competition that night. I still went to school. Instead of going to the science competition, I used my science hat of invisibility to sneak into Mrs. Lesson's room and get your journal. I wanted to get your journal so that no one else could read your business and see your gay ball problems that I know you still have, even though you think you are getting better. I was going to give it back to you, but you were not there at the competition like you should have been, even though I'm such a good friend to you. Even now, because I could have been reaching my moment of genius. I was doing a thing for you because I want you to be happy, Tails said to Sonic with a voice of emotion. Sonic did not know what to say. High school drama was so insane to be part of. Sonic picked up his journal and felt like he was going to cry because he was being an asshole jerk to his best friend, who was only trying to make him happy. Tails, you did not have to do this, Sonic responded. Matters is that I did, said Tails. Also that you did not care for my special day, because you were too busy trying to be true boyfriend and girlfriend with Amy. Goodbye, Sonic, said Tails right before he flew out of Espio's bedroom window with his flying tails, and then he did. This is so shitty, said Espio to Sonic, who was now the only other person in his bedroom. I still have to fight Tails tomorrow, but your different kind of fight with Tails is just as crazy. That is for me to figure out with Tails, said Sonic. Let's go back to making sure you cannot be defeated by Knuckles. Sonic and Espio spent all night in Espio's room, reading books and watching videos about fighting and learning how to be the best at it. By the time night was over, Espio was ready to face Knuckles. They went to school this new day, and school was over, and now they were in the hall, where Knuckles set to meet him. There was a crowd of people around him that included Sonic, who looked worried, Rouge, who looked worried and with her baby, and Vector, who was smiling. Also in the crowd was Tails with him, Cream the rabbit, who was Charmy's best friend. Cream was a little woman and pretty smart, but not as smart as Tails. Her boobs were smaller than both Amy's and Rouge's, but they were still high quality in their own way. It's not surprising most people surprising. Let's see. Then Espio jumped over the crowd and where Knuckles was. So you've decided to come anyway, said Knuckles, even though you know your ass is going to get torn up by my moves. I do not want to fight you, Knuckles, said Espio to Knuckles, but I am doing this for Charmy and Rouge. I'm doing this for Charmy because you kidnapped him, and for Rouge because you did not respect her baby. Then let's do this, said Knuckles. Knuckles charged at Espio with his fist like an elephant running at a hunter, trying to kill him for his powers. But Espio jumped at him out of the way and onto the wall like a pro jumper, which he learned how to do last night. Espio jumped at Knuckles with a kick move, and Knuckles punched at his foot, and they met with a purple and red explosion of power that knocked them both back. They continued to jump around and attack each other, and they did this for a while. It was difficult to watch for everyone. Rouge was in the crowd with her baby. This is so difficult. This is so difficult to watch, said Rouge. Violence should not be a solution to conflict, said Rouge's baby, peeking out between his hands. You are right. Why do people do this like this? I hate it, said Rouge to Rouge's baby. Rouge had become a different person since he had a baby. She used to be only sexy, but now Rouge was sexy and matronly. Yeah, fuck this evil world, said Rouge's baby. Rouge then revealed her poop to her baby and had meat from it as a baby would do. Rouge's baby thought this was the best part about being a baby, because not everyone could get poops like this delivered to them on their doorstep like a milkman. Babies did not have much to worry about anyway, so Rouge's ace moves would make paradise a reality for baby. I have a feeling, said Rouge's baby, you should lie down and relax. So Rouge lied down on her back, and the fighting continued to go on. Knuckles and Espio were both bloody and gross-looking, like two waiters who were holding messy foods, and they walked into each other, causing the meals to launch into the air and then fall down on them and ruin the nice clothes they got from the store. They were breathing hard and were tired, but they kept going, jumping and kicking and punching and running. It looked like two people doing a dance, but hitting each other also. Knuckles kicked his feet out at Espio, but Espio jumped up and dodged them and came back down and hit Knuckles in the mouth and knocked him onto the floor ground. Is this not enough? Are we done? Shouted Espio to Knuckles. How will this ever end? Knuckles looked up at the ground at Espio standing over him. Knuckles had a Twinkie in his eye as he looked up at Espio and crawled towards him. Espio did not do anything but watch him and feel dangerous. Come closer, said Knuckles in a whisper voice. So Espio bent down and put his face to Knuckles. Knuckles looked up and down Espio's sweaty purple body and into his eyes and said, I respect you, and then grabbed his face as hard as a deer and kissed him on the mouth. When Knuckles kissed him, he did extra hard, sometimes with his eyes shut, and sometimes looking into Espio's deep yellow eyes that looked like a circus of loving men. Their tongues met in the middle of their mouths like two chicken cutlets that were acting like cats that loved each other. Espio was watching videos last night. He was not expecting he was going to do kissing too, but he liked it. They went on kissing for a full minute while everyone watched, wondering if they were done fighting or just taking a break to kiss. Finally, the back part of Knuckles' body began to lift off the ground, while his mouth was still making out with Espio. Eventually, the power became so strong that his mouth was removed from Espio. Their spit was like a shiny extension cord that connected an appliance to a wall outlet. Knuckles then began to glow while floating in the air, and the whole place became a little windy. Inside, Tails said to Scream, "Wow, I know what this is. This is a rare moment of science we will never see again. We'll never see probably again in a lifetime or ever. It is called a body donation. And it was invented by Inestine. It is when someone reaches a moment of such powerful love that they can choose to restart their lives as a part of the person they love. Inestine invented this by making his wife love him so much after a romance pasta dinner that she became a baby that was like him. But then he killed his wife, the baby, because he thought it was too dangerous to have her live on the world without testing it in a laboratory first. It is a fact that looks like magic. It's not magic, it is science, so deal with it." Knuckles glided on the wind forward through the crowd of people in front of him and into Rouge's mouth, where he disappeared into. It was a good thing Rouge's baby had premonitions and told her to lie down. So then Knuckles did a U-turn in Rouge's sex-filled body and came out of her butt as a newborn baby that looked like Espio. This was all science. This was all science, chat. I'm gonna have to remember that line. This was all science. Okay, so that's the first 10 chapters of Sonic High School. Which I think that's enough. It's just 3 chapters. I was wrong. I was so wrong. It's one of the things, if there's somehow, I'll do it here, unless there's like somehow, if there's somehow a massive like push to read all $25 chapters. But I hope you all enjoyed it. Whatever. I think 10's enough. Well, 9 chapters. I'm not reading the I'm not reading the Rouge and Espio. Anyway, thank you all for enjoying that. We'll have to figure out something else to do for when we reach 700 followers. But